Today's case is about Anthony Sanchez. Anthony Sanchez was born in 1979. He grew up in Moore, Oklahoma, a working class suburb of Oklahoma City. Raised by a single father for much of his life, Sanchez's early years were marked by instability, brushes with the law, and claims of neglect. Those who knew him described him quite often troubled young man and struggled with education, bouncing between schools and eventually dropping out. By his late teens, Sanchez was already in and out of juvenile detention centers for minor offenses. He entered adulthood. Those charges escalated to burglary, weapons possession, and other non-violent crimes. He was no stranger to Oklahoma's prison system, but no one suspected he'd ever be tied to murder. In the heart of Oklahoma, where the justice is served with vitality, one man's name is etched into the state's darkest chapters. Anthony Castillo Sanchez, a man convicted of one of the most brutal crimes in the state's modern history and sentenced to die for it. It was December 20, 1996. Julie Buskin, a 21-year-old ballerina and a recent graduate of the University of Oklahoma, had just finished her final exams, but instead of celebrating a new beginning, her life became to a horrifying end. That morning, Julie was abducted from her apartment complex in Norman, Oklahoma. Her car was later found abandoned, hours later turned into days, and on Christmas Eve, her body was discovered near Lake Stanley Draper. She had been raped, she had been bound, and executed with a single gunshot to the back of her head. For years, this case went cold. There was no eyewitnesses, no suspects, only DNA evidence left behind at the scene. It wasn't until 2004, nearly 8 years later, that the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation made a breakthrough. Anthony Sanchez, already serving time for burglary, was linked to the crime through a DNA match in CODIS, the National DNA Database. The evidence was a near-perfect match to the DNA found on Julie Buskin's body. In 2006, Sanchez stood trial. Prosecutors presented DNA evidence as their strongest proof. The jury deliberated just a few hours before finding him guilty of rape and first-degree murder. He was sentenced to death. But Sanchez insisted he was innocent. He claimed the DNA was planted and that he had never met Julie Buskin. His defense argued that there were no fingerprints, no witnesses, and no physical evidence other than the DNA. His father, who later took his own life, also proclaimed his son's innocence, saying he was framed by the state. Despite years of appeals, last-minute pushes for clemency from anti-death penalty advocates, Anthony Sanchez's execution date was set. So, on September 21, 2023, Anthony Sanchez was executed by lethal injection at the age of 44. He declined a special last meal, choosing instead a simple meal from the prison canteen, which was a chicken patty sandwich, fries, and a soft drink. His last words were, "I'm innocent." Decades later, the murder of Julie Buskin still haunts Oklahoma. Her dreams of becoming a professional dancer were stolen in an instant, and Anthony Sanchez's questions linger. Since justice was served, or was it denied? This is the story of Anthony Sanchez, a crime, a conviction and a death sentence carried out in the name of justice. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Do you think that Anthony Sanchez, based on everything that we've heard, is guilty, or is he innocent? What do you think? I mean, this poor woman went through a brutal attack, and I feel so sorry for her family and her loved ones. I mean, yeah, this is a story of Anthony Sanchez, a crime, a conviction, a death sentence carried out in the name of justice. Let me know what you think down below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Bye, guys.